Welcome to the Echo Tips podcast.
Here's a sneak peek into what we're going to cover in this week's episode of the Echo Tips podcast.
Okay, I'll create a reminder for tomorrow at 5 p.m. Okay, I'll create a reminder for every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Okay, I'll create a reminder for on August 1st of every year at 9 a.m.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Echo Tips podcast. It's good to have you returning listeners and you new listeners here this week with us as well. Now, before I explain what our show is all about to our new listeners, who are listening very likely there as implied new listeners for the very first time, and what the show is all about, I'm going to mention our theme or topic for discussion this week, and this is going to be a Omnibus episode. So in other words, it's going to be longer than our typical format. We're going to try and wedge all the goodness in about our topic, reminders. So reminders are a very, very powerful tool for all sorts of different things you want to be reminded about, from medications to anniversaries to paying that bill the first of the month, to every Tuesday having a reminder about taking your trash out for trash pickup or your recycling, or your school bus is about to arrive for the kids, or feed the dog, whatever type of reminders you want. It's pretty amazing, is pretty flexible, and allows you to do amazing things. Things that I've been doing this for years. I learned about today that have kind of been snuck into the app that you may have not known exists. So we're going to be tackling that topic today. As I mentioned, you new listeners, welcome to the Echo Tips podcast. I'm your host, David Ward. I'm an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill. And you'll find at our show, the Echo Tips podcast, we try to keep them nuggetized episodes, lately somewhere between 15 to 20, 25 minutes long. Although, as I mentioned, today is going to be an omnibus episode, which means it's going to be extra big, and we're going to try and cram all the stuff you need to know about a particular topic into one show. Although, if you look through our back catalog, we have a number of examples where we've nuggetized this more down to 5 or 15 minutes. For example, today's episode about reminders, really across our past 5 seasons and now our 6th season, have been broke across many, many episodes. So you can always go back and look at them in a more nuggetized format. But generally, we cover all sorts of things: new settings, new skills, new features, new games, home automation, applications for parents, caregivers, seniors, children, all sorts of different applications related to our favorite A-Lady on the Echo devices. But before we delve into our giant episode this week, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then we will be, as always, right back.
This episode is brought to you by New Vision and Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a non-profit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. And we thank you for listening. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision.
Well, hello again, and welcome back to the show. As I mentioned, our core topic of our Omnibus episode today is going to be all about reminders. And if you thought you knew there was all to know about reminders, well, this episode is going to knock your socks off, because there is a lot going on here. Stuff that I didn't even know was in here. That was like, what? That's a setting? I'm like, really? Okay. So you're going to be surprised, I think. And it's just an amazing, amazing feature. I'd have to say, apart from asking for the time and playing music and podcast, reminders are a core feature that I've used forever. Long before there was even like a really semi-functional calendar feature, reminders have been around. It's a very powerful feature, and it's only continued to mature over time. Now, today we're going to break out our kind of our approach to this in two main facets. We're going to do verbal commands and demonstrations in just a second, and then we're going to later talk about how certain things really you can only, at least I can, there may be a verbal command for it, but I don't know what it is, in the app. So certain aspects or features and configurations that you'll only find in the app. Now, this will be a probably highly produced and edited show, so we may have some fast forwards there and some bleeps, and that's where we're kind of cutting in and out to kind of condense this content down as quickly and succinctly as possible. So with that in mind, we're going to get started right into demos. If you have an Amazon Echo in hearing distance of my voice, you may want to shut its ears off because we're about to rock and roll here. So just give you a second to do that. And you can always pause the podcast, come back to the podcast. You want to hear something again, say rewind 30 seconds or a minute, and that way in case you miss something. Okay? All right, so let's delve right into this. We're going to talk about core basic reminders. We're going to talk about repeating reminders. We're going to talk about follow-up reminders, which are kind of a nuclear option. We're going to talk about location-based reminders. And then we're going to get into some nuances of these that I didn't even know existed. And we'll talk about reminder notifications as well. Hopefully we'll be able to cram that all in. After all, it's supposed to be an Omnibus episode, so it's supposed to have it all. Okay, let's start off with a basic reminder. Alexa, create a reminder.
What's the reminder for?
Ice cream party.
When should I remind you?
Tomorrow, 5 p.m.
Okay, I'll create a reminder for tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Now, that's a simple reminder. It's a one-off. It doesn't do anything. Just tomorrow, and the singular Echo device, it will go ding, ding, ice cream party. And we'll talk about how many times it dings and the nature of those dings in notifications. But you can tailor make it in many, many, many ways. But the other cool thing about reminders is they pretty much are self-wiping after they're done. Now, additionally, I can ask for what reminders are set tomorrow and get that read back to me. If I need to delete it, I can say delete the reminder ice cream party or something like that and basically delete it as well. Okay, so that is the primitive early day reminders, been around forever. Now, I said tomorrow, but I could have said Friday, I could have said Thursday, I could have said July the 25th, I could have given it a date. So very versatile in how I can do that. In the early days of alarms, you really didn't have that functionality, but reminders have almost always had that functionality, I do believe. Okay, repeating reminders. All right, so let's say it's trash pickup. Alexa, create a repeating reminder.
When do you want me to remind you?
Tuesdays.
What's the reminder for?
Trash pickup.
What time every Tuesday should I remind you?
8 a.m.
Okay, I'll create a reminder for every Tuesday at 8 a.m.
Okay, so the unique component of this is that it will go off every Tuesday. Super, super powerful. Now, you have some other lingo you can use other than actual days like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You could say weekday, weekend, every day, so Monday, all the days. You can additionally set a time like the first of the month. And then it will go off every first of the month. I have a particular thing that I'm supposed to remind about paperwork I need to do every month that's like that. And I believe you can even set it, let's try this. Alexa, create a repeating reminder.
When do you want me to remind you?
August 1st.
What's the reminder for?
Remember, it's going to be hot this August.
At what time should I remind you?
9 a.m.
Okay, I'll create a reminder for on August 1st of every year at 9 a.m.
Okay, now did you catch that? Now that reminder is just going to go off the 1st of August every year. So that might be great for anniversaries or something like that. So super, super cool. That one I think I might have known about that, but that one was kind of new. I think I kind of fell into that one today. Now, as I mentioned, inside the app, there's some additional components we'll talk about here later. We'll move now on to location-based reminders. Alexa, remind me when I get to work to call the boss.
I'm not sure who's speaking. What's your name?
David.
Okay, David, to finish setting this reminder, you'll need to go to the Alexa app on your phone and open Reminders.
Okay. Now, that might have something to do with that. I need to have location services set on my app, because that's how it knows when I get back and forth to work is via the app, and I have to have permissions for GPS tracking and things like that. This feature has been around for a long time too. Somewhat primitive, I believe, in that you could set your workplace and your home place. Although in most cases, that's probably what you want, so that when you either depart your house or you arrive at your house, or you depart work or you arrive at work, you get some sort of notice. Like you're departing work, oh, don't forget to pick up milk and cereal on the way home. Or you're departing the house, or you arrive at work, don't forget to submit that report to your boss this morning. So those kind of basic things. Now, in-app, you have additional configurations about that we'll talk about, and I did find some kind of flakiness in the way that it kind of kept sending me in feedback loops inside the app. But at its core, that is the way that feature is supposed to be utilized, and we'll mention some additional features in-app as well that I think are in there, but like I said, I was having some trouble with it today. All right, the last one we want to mention is called follow-up reminders. Now, this one's pretty awesome, and it's kind of the nuclear option. So let's give this a try. Alexa, create a follow-up reminder.
What's the reminder for?
Take that antibiotic medication.
When should I remind you?
Tomorrow, 8 a.m.
Okay, I'll create a reminder for tomorrow at 8 a.m. and follow up every hour until you tell me this is done.
Okay, so the follow-up command is interesting. So not only will it ding at that appointed time and tell you what it's for, take antibiotic medication, if I do not acknowledge it and explicitly say I've done it, A lady done, it completed, whatever, it will ding at me every hour until I acknowledge that it's done during that time frame, during that day. Now, there's an added feature to this that some may not be aware of, and that is it not only has an hourly function, it has a potential daily function. So you can take this command, and if you set it on a particular day, like the 1st of every month or the 1st of August, now you would want to blend that probably with the repeating command. So you would say, I want to create a follow-up repeating reminder. Not only will it go off, and I have one like this, it goes off the 1st of every month, but then subsequently it will go off every day at the same time. So like if I forget to file some sort of financial paperwork the 1st of August, it will ding the next day, the 2nd, at 9 a.m. Hey, did you submit your paperwork? And on the 3rd, it'll ding at 9 a.m. Did you submit your paperwork? Whatever, right? It'll continue to do that once again until I say that I'm done and completed. So really powerful, and you can blend these two, the follow-up and repeating. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but you would say create follow-up repeating reminder, and then basically follow the steps that it outlines. Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of the core features there. I mentioned the month and year components. Yeah. So I think we got the core things there that you can do verbally with reminders. So now we're going to step over into the app. Now on my iPhone here, I have the A-Lady app, the most up-to-date app as of this recording. And there's two core features we're going to look at inside of the app today. Now, this is where you would actually create reminders manually, and as a result, you get some additional features. So let's go right into that. I have on my iPhone, I have the voiceover for the visually impaired enabled, and so you should be able to hear certain aspects of it, but I'll repeat it as we go through here too as well. So I'm going to open that up. Okay, so I'm in, to get to this, what you need to do is open up your A-Lady app and go to the More button in the bottom right-hand corner. That will slide down a menu in the right-hand column, at least on my phone. The layout might be different depending on the size of your screen. You're going to tap on Reminders. Now, on the follow-up page, you have pretty much a list of all your currently set reminders, but at the very tippy top, you have Add or Create a New Reminder.
Remind me to.
So there's the reminder, and I think I just put like just a filler in there. I said test, but then I have
Test. Text field. At a time.
I can set the time, very much like what we've already done before, but there's some things in here that I don't know how you would ever do verbally. You got to do in the app.
Add a location.
Add a location. Now, if you go into the location thing, there's some configurations there that implies to me that you can set something other than work or home, because it says add location. It's just not like a drop-down menu with work or home, but I'm not positive because I couldn't quite seem to get it to work. It was a little finicky with me today, like I hadn't added the permission and all of that. But your mileage may vary. Additionally, under the location thing, there's some additional caveats you can configure, like, okay, so when I get to work, do this, give me a notification, but only on these days or times. So you can add some additional layers in there about how that works. But further down here on the page, we're just going to stick to the time setting.
Add a location. Announces from everywhere. Link.
Now this is pretty cool. You can, now if I'm speaking to my Echo here in the office, like I just did all those reminders, right? By default, it is going to only remind me on that device audibly, all right? Now, we'll talk later in the notifications component of reminders about how you can tailor that in different ways. So even if I wasn't here in the office, I can get that reminder. But this is a way to make sure that the verbal component of it going ding, 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 hey, it's time to take the trash out, can not only be set on this Echo, but I can assign it to every Echo. They'll all ding and say ding, 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 take the trash out. Alternatively, you can configure based on, I think it's audio groups, like if you have like all the Echoes on your top floor of your house set to be, upstairs or something, you can set that, say, I want all of those to ding to tell me to take the trash out. So you can kind of create it and craft it however you want. Now let's go down a little further here.
Date none. Jewel 1. Link.
Okay, so there's the date. That's pretty generic, right? We talk about that, how you can set the date.
Repeat does not repeat. Link.
Okay, you have a repeating option. Now, that's just as I mentioned verbally. You could say every Tuesday, every weekday, every weekend. But there's another feature here I've never seen before. It's called Daily. And I think it's called Daily. Let me double check. Let's go in here and look at it.
Screen does not repeat. Check. Multiple times a day. Unchecked.
Oh, there it is. It's called multiple times a day. That's what it is. So that's interesting. I'd never seen that before. If you go into that, it allows it to configure so that it dings for one assigned task. It will ding twice during the day. The default configuration, like if I selected it right now, will be around, because I'm recording this around 3 p.m. in the afternoon, it'll be set to 3 p.m. by default and 3 a.m. 12 hours later. But you could tailor it any way you want, like 6 a.m. in the morning and then 6 p.m. at night. Or you can change it and slide it as well, 7 a.m. in the morning and 5 p.m. at night. So you can tailor it automatically so that twice during the day, say there was some critical task, and you really don't want to turn on the nuclear option of the follow-up mode. You can have it so that it reminds you twice during the day. I honestly don't remember that ever being in there before, so that's kind of neat. So let me back out to the out of this. Oh, if I can. Okay, now that we're out of that, we're going to go further down our list.
Date none. Jewel 1. Repeat does not. Time 4 p.m. Link. Time 4 p.m. Link.
Of course, that's obvious. You set the time, so the above is the date, and then here's the time.
Repeat does not repeat. Link. Time 4 p.m. Reminder for David. Link.
Reminder for David. Now, you can have different profiles, for you, your wife, your kids, whatever. And this would tailor it in such a way so that maybe if you have an Echo that recognizes their voice or recognizes their face when they're standing in the room, it can make sure that it prompts maybe on the screen or otherwise gives them notification that maybe they had a reminder that they didn't acknowledge that they completed. And in fact, the very next setting kind of gives you that implication.
Follow up image every hour on your device.
Follow up every hour with an image on your device. So this is an additional setting. So in addition to the follow-up that will chime every hour, you can also have this little this visual indicator on the screen that, hey, did you feed the dog today? You know, it pops up on the screen. So really, really kind of super cool, the power of that. Okay, now we're going to transition over into the other aspect of this, which is how you get the notifications. By default, as I mentioned, it usually just goes off on the singular device that you've just made the reminder on. So this next setting is going to be just that, in settings. So you go back into your A-Lady app all the way back to the main page, the More button in the bottom right. Instead of going to reminders this time, we're going to go more further down the page to settings. Once you're on your settings, you tap on settings, it'll pull up a settings panel with all these different categories. There's a lot in here these days. You're going to scroll down to about the second page and you're looking for reminders. So you'll tap on reminders, and this deals with the ways in which you get notifications connected with reminders. Once you're in there, you're going to find a number of options. Okay, so now we're in that section that I've described. Let's start at the top here, and I'm just going to, like I said, I'm going to be using my phone here that's talking so we don't miss anything in particular.
Set alert volume button.
So we have our alert volume. So just as a reminder, your typical volume when you're rock and rolling at home is separate from your alarm and reminder volume. So you can adjust that here if you do wish. All right, let's continue down the page.
Phone notifications heading.
Now this is interesting. This is how you can get notifications on your phone. So even if you're not in the room where your Echo goes off, assuming you didn't have it set to go off on all your Echoes, as we learned earlier, you can still get that when maybe you're outside, maybe you're at work, you're in the car. You can still get your reminder. All right, let's keep going.
Send notifications to my phone. Switch button on.
Send notifications to my phone. So that's already turned on for me. I'm going to flick right again here.
Send text messages to my phone enabled. Link.
Send text messages to my phone enabled. So I'm going to clarify this. The default configuration, if I do recall, is that it will just jingle on the app on your phone using your phone's notification. So whatever kind of jingle you have set for your notifications on your phone, it'll slide up a little thing or whatever, or pop up, however you have it configured on your phone, saying, hey, you forgot to feed the dog today, or whatever the reminder was for. But me, here, I've assigned it so that I receive a text message instead of that notification on my phone. And the advantage I had for that is I could set a custom ringtone for the short code I get from Amazon from their servers that sends a reminder saying, feed the dog today. And so I can assign a custom ringtone to that, which kind of doesn't allow, in my mind, doesn't let it blend into all the other jingles that are happening on my phone whenever I get a calendar notification or email or whatever. So it kind of helps me mentally sort through these things. Let's keep going.
Customized delivery heading.
Oh, I will mention the other great thing about the text message option is if you're setting this up for a senior who may not have a smartphone, or another family member that doesn't have a smartphone, maybe a child or the like, you could still have them get their reminders via text message. So that's a cool thing. Even if they have, a non-smartphone, just a feature phone, they can still get those reminders. So I think that's super critical. All right, let me keep going here.
Announce on devices device where reminder was created, spoken to device. Link.
Okay, so that's the default configuration right there, and you could tailor it in different ways. In fact, let me go into that and see how we can configure it.
Close.
I imagine
Button.
it's the same as we could in the other reminder app.
Close. Button. Devices. Heading. Spoken to device where reminder was created.
Okay,
Check.
that's the default.
Groups. Heading.
Okay, then it does have the audio group. So you can manually, without having... So that's kind of cool. You could actually set it so that it will go off... All your reminders by default will go off on a particular audio group or everywhere, which is an option. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Be careful with that, though, because if you have an Echo like I do at work that's on my home account, every time it jingles here, it'll be jingling at work. So that, and I kind of work in a shared office training workspace. So anyway, just bear that in mind. All right, let me back out of this.
Count number of times Alexa announces a reminder 2 times.
Now this is where you can set your number of jingles.
Announcement count number of times Alexa announces a reminder 2 times.
2 times is what it's currently set
Announcement
to.
count. Announcement.
Let's go into that,
Close.
see what our options are.
Announcement count. 1. Unchecked.
1,
2. Checked.
2. I'm thinking 2 was the original default from like 6 years ago or for several years ago. I'm not positive.
3. Unchecked.
3.
Persistent up to 1 hour. Unchecked.
Whoa, persistent. It like just goes nuts. Ding, 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 ding man, if you paired that with follow-up mode, it pretty much will keep going off through the whole day until you, until you actually stop it. Okay, so that's pretty. All right, let's back out of that. So the other 2 options you have there is the ability to make all reminders by default follow-up reminders. So that's kind of interesting. Could be a little annoying, but I guess if you don't want to miss anything, that would be a surefire way to do it, is set that follow-up reminders as the default. So in other words, when I gave her verbal commands and just said create reminder, by default, that reminder will always be a follow-up reminder. The other option down at the bottom there was kind of an AI style thing. So and I have that turned on. So like if it's something, if it hears a phrase like pay a bill or something that it would flag as potentially critical language in the label of my reminder, it'll circle back around and say, hey, Dave, that sounds important. Do you want to make that a follow-up reminder? Do you want me to remind you that every hour until you do it? Maybe a medication or pay a bill, something that it kind of thinks is critical. It will just kind of catch those phrases, and then it'll circle back before it completes the reminder and adding it to the list. It'll say, hey, would you like to continue to get follow-up reminders on that? Okay, so I think that narrows it down. That is our Omnibus episode about reminders. Soon as I think longer about this, there's probably something I forgot. But there's a lot going on with reminders. And it's a really, really powerful tool for families, for those with little ones, for caregivers, for seniors. I just think a fabulous tool, from everything about remembering anniversaries to monthly bills to feeding the dogs to taking medications. I had one student, she had to take like 6 different medications a day. It just wasn't 6. It was probably like 10 or 20 different medications a day, but she had to take some of them at 6 different separate times throughout the day. And so this was a powerful tool for her with the reminders. It could be set and configured so every day she got the proper notice that told her to take the proper medication, and it was just really, really helpful for her. Okay, well, if you have thoughts or suggestions, or I indeed did miss something, which I probably did, you can reach out to us at info@goodwillvalleys.com with an S.com via email, old-fashioned email. We'd love to hear your feedback. By the way, if you have comments or suggestions and you'd like me to share your name when I share the email, maybe just your first name or something like that, just mention that in the email. Also, you can reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter, now known as X, with a post at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys. And in either context, just earmark either in the email or the post that you're trying to reach the New Vision program or the Echo Tips podcast with Dave, and that way the message will be directed my way, and we can hopefully answer your question either via email or on the show, or maybe there's a new topic you had a suggestion about. So anyway, by all means, that's how you'll reach me. Just earmark it New Vision or Echo Tips podcast. Well, until next time, it's time to turn the ears back on your Echo. Start practicing some of the many, many things that you've learned. I'm David Ward for the New Vision program, and we thank you for listening.
This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a non-profit organisation serving Central, Southwest and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. And we thank you for listening. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision.